Welcome everyone. I'm Kim Lockhart at the Rainmaker Companies, and thank you for joining us today for our Marketing Automation webinar, How to Select the Right Tool for Your Firm. Today's webinar is being presented by Christine Hollenden of Hollenden, the leading professional services marketing firm. Before we begin, we need to get some housekeeping business out of the way. First, please close all other programs running on your computer. This will help to ensure a quality presentation and reduce any audio breakdown issues. You will be prompted to complete a brief survey at the end of the webinar. Please take a few moments to complete this survey. In order to fully participate, please familiarize yourself with the WebEx control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. To ask a question, please type your question into the chat box. Please make sure you send your comments and questions to host and presenter from the drop-down box. This will ensure that Christine sees your message immediately. Also, at the top of the control panel, there are several icons that you can use for feedback during the webinar. There is a hands up icon, a green check mark, and a red X. Please use these if prompted. You will be muted for the duration of this webinar. You will notice a link appear in the chat box in just a moment. This is a copy of the slides that are being used today. All right, everyone, we're about to get started, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you Christine. Good morning, Christine.
Morning and welcome everyone. Again, I'd like to just reiterate that if you have a comment or a question, please submit them to both Rainmaker host and presenter so that I'll receive those immediately. So welcome to Marketing Automation, How to Select the Right Tool for Your Firm. In today's world, we're always looking for the next best thing when it comes to promoting our firms. And now, more than ever before, we're asked to accomplish greater results with fewer and fewer resources. So we look for things that will streamline, automate, and measure our marketing efforts, make those marketing efforts better and faster, and more measurable. In today's electronic environment, the use of automation tools is essential for managing and measuring marketing campaigns and moving leads through our funnel. The list of tools is growing larger each and every day. Hootsuite, Google Analytics, Act-On, to name a few. From free to enterprise level and everything in between, the selection process can quickly become overwhelming. Questions abound. How do you select the right tool or tools that's appropriate for your firm? How do you integrate software into your marketing efforts? What exactly is marketing automation? When is the right time to make an investment in marketing automation software? Today, we'll answer those questions and more. We hope you'll leave with a clearer understanding of what's available and how to make an informed selection decision, as well as how and when to integrate the selected software. To put our discussion about marketing automation in perspective, I'd like to begin with a brief walk-through history on the evolution of marketing itself. Just a few short years ago, marketing was so very different. If we take a look at the evolution of marketing, you can easily see how times have changed and how marketing roles and the tools that we use have continued to change, particularly as technology has advanced. You know, in 1956, they were using the Rolodex. Some people may not know what that is, but ask your senior partners. They'll remember. Then 78 came along where we introduced data management systems. That was a big advancement, where we actually had computer systems running data for us, the first databases. The World Wide Web was introduced in 1989, followed by email in 1993. Google was created in 1998. Then AdWords, Google AdWords were introduced in 2000, almost 15 years old. Followed by LinkedIn in 2003. 2004 introduced Facebook. 2005 was YouTube. 2006 was Twitter. And 2008 was the first introduction of marketing automation. Prior to the digital age, marketing consisted of complete outbound marketing. Firms were responsible for pushing products and services at clients through a one-way communication channel. As I've explained, the early years of the 21st century saw a shift toward digital technology and marketing communications. Cloud computing, search engines, and the power of the internet brought the need for interactive and social communication to the forefront. This really revolutionized marketing. As individuals, as our prospects started seeking information and communication online, traditional marketing quickly took a backseat as the need for content creation, optimized sites, and social and mobile marketing transformed our businesses as we know it. In recent years, we've seen another change, more and more technology being used. Firms are becoming more dependent on technology to communicate with clients, to do their work, as well as to move those prospects through the marketing funnel. The introduction of multiple marketing platforms has led to a montage of marketing tools, each with different functions, different lexicons, and different ways of measuring success. Unfortunately, what we've been left with, these tools are often disparate, each operating specifically for an individual platform and operating independently. While these tools serve very beneficial functions in automating specific marketing tasks, the inability to integrate those marketing tasks makes it almost impossible to have a complete automated marketing program. You're jumping from tool to tool, looking at information here and there. When you're gathering information from those various marketing tools, you're then required to compare data between those different tools. And that makes for it makes it difficult to really determine true causation or to measure conversion rates accurately. While you may see certain analytics and social media driving your target audience to your website, many firms are left with the task of analyzing web analytics and determining, if possible, what social actions lead to what conversion. There are gaps that are difficult to fill when tools are that disparate. Think of your email, for instance. How are you communicating with clients? Do you use Outlook or more sophisticated programs such as Constant Contact, MyEmma, or MailChimp? Each of these platforms has its own analytics tools to measure things like open rates, browsers, opt-outs, etc. On top of your email system, you may have a CRM, such as Salesforce, NetSuite, Sugar, or some other CRM software. There are separate tools that you must have to operate in successfully contacting prospects and clients. Again, to move them through that prospect funnel, that conversion funnel, or cross-selling funnel. Also consider your website. You know, it's a given in today's day and time. You have to have some web presence to be successful. There's your content management system, your CMS, so that allows you to update content, manage feeds, and add pages. On top of that, there's Google Analytics that you're probably using to measure and monitor things like visitors, bounce rates, time spent per page, page visits, conversions, and more. While each tool functions separately, both are just as important to overall function and maintenance of your website. Then there's social media. Think of the different channels that you might be using, such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and the list goes on. Think about the early years of social media. Some of you may still be implementing a manual social media process, jumping from social media platform to social media platform in order to make posts. Others may have implemented a more dynamic process for social media that allows you to make posts across channels. You log into one and post a message. Then you continue to do some of this either manual or more automated. But each platform has its own set of analytics that measure visitors and engagement. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn each provide their own audience demographics and engagement statistics, as well as follower information. But to gather this data, you must individually log into each channel. As the channels become more popular, various applications began to integrate with these channels, creating more disparate tools to use with each platform. I mean, let's look at Twitter alone. There's Twiriad, which I'm hoping many of you are using, which measure optimal post times. That's a way to optimize your social media activities. Then there's things like TweetDeck, which is a Twitter dashboard, Bitly, which shortens the link's URL but gives you some tracking in and of itself, Hootsuite or Buffer to schedule posts and monitor feeds, Topsy, which is a Twitter search tool, and that's just a few that exist. But I also want you to consider your marketing tactics and the processes and programs used for each. From applications to analytics, there are many different tools available to manage and measure the various platforms. But what happens is that we'll really end up wasting a lot of time and resources by continuing to use those siloed tools, those disparate, independent tools. Marketing automation refers to software platforms and technologies designed specifically to more effectively market on multiple channels online, including email, social media, websites, etc. It also automates very repetitive tasks, but it all under one platform. In short, it's a platform to automate your marketing tasks and decrease the use of disparate tools. The purpose of marketing automation is to allow firms like yours to engage their target audience throughout the buying process, that journey. As I mentioned before, it removes outbound marketing tactics and allows you to attract prospects to your website, capture their information. Inbound marketing provides you the means to lead your prospects through the buying journey by nurturing them with contact based on behavior and interest, as well as allows you to score that prospect in terms of that person or that individual or that business's ranking, as well as far as if they would make a good prospect for you, if they'd make a good client. Some of the marketing automation tools that are out there are displayed on this G2 Crowd grid for marketing automation. And they kind of measure this in terms of market presence on the right axes and satisfaction ratings that they're getting. Virtually every marketing automation tool provides three core capabilities, and that is email marketing, website visitor tracking or website analytics, and a database. From there, vendors begin to differentiate by providing additional tools such as content generation, email campaigns, landing page automation or generation, task management and scheduling, multi-channel marketing, including social medias, AdWords, and analytics, all under one software platform, application integration, such as integration with your CRM, your webinar meeting platform, social applications, and ROI analysis, plus many other kinds of bells and whistles that they've added in. There are many different marketing software available, marketing automation software available, as this chart demonstrates. We don't have time today to get into a lot of them, but I want to walk you through some of the leaders. Some of the leaders include HubSpot, Pardot, Act-On, Eloqua, and Marketo. And those are the ones that you see in that upper right quadrant, considered the leaders in marketing automation. These products have large market share, backed by several resources, and have been highly rated by users for satisfaction along with many other factors such as capabilities, ease of use, etc. They include many additional tools, and some of them have enterprise-level systems because of these additional tools. While those tools do require more resources, time, money, and team management, they provide you with a completely automated system that, using those individual marketing tools I was referring to previously, simply cannot provide. Now, beyond time-saving and efficiency benefits, marketing automation provides modern business process benefits as well. This can help you align marketing and sales teams, or align, if your partners or other people within your organization, your firm, are doing the sales or business development work. This can help bring things together. Real-time intelligence means qualifying more leads, and those doing business development have warmer conversion and higher conversion rates. It provides valuable data in real time, so you can see precisely which channels and campaigns have the highest conversion rates and understand and measure ROI at every step of the way. It directly ties efforts to revenue as well because of this tracking capability. Another benefit is that contact and lead management, which enable you to manage contacts, leads, campaigns, data, and analytics very easily, again, under one umbrella. Some of the statistics and studies that have been published include one from Gartner that measured companies automating lead generation see 10% more revenue within just 6 to 9 months. Think about what 10% more revenue simply from a tool could mean to your firm. Forrester study states that companies that deploy lead nurturing through marketing automation generate 50% more qualified leads at 33% lower cost for lead acquisition. 50% more leads, 33% lower cost for lead acquisition. Annuitas states that businesses that use marketing automation to nurture prospects experience a 451% increase in qualified leads. Aberdeen Group study says automation users have 53% higher conversion rate from marketing response to marketing qualified leads than non-users. So regardless of the study you refer to, one thing that's clear from all of them, even though there's numbers vary from study to study, is that lead generation increases, your cost for conversion, converting that lead to that qualified lead to a client decreases, and revenue increases. And I think, again, this is because we're able to measure so much more accurately. But marketing automation is an investment. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But first, you have to really determine, are you ready? Is your firm ready for marketing automation tools, this level of marketing automation? You must assess your firm's capabilities and goals to determine if you're ready to make the next step. Some of the questions you might ask include, how many client or prospect touch points are you currently implementing? Measure them all, such as newsletters, webinars, announcements. Think about, have you outgrown your current marketing system? Do you target a sophisticated audience that requires content before they engage with your firm? So before they're reaching out to have a conversation with your firm, are you finding that people, your target audience, your prospects, are wanting information to study or read, to analyze before that engagement level? Do you need, or would you like, more insight into the exact value of your marketing programs? Do you currently produce or plan to produce more personalized content for your target prospects? Would it be impossible to personally call every potential prospect or new lead you generate? Do your leads require nurturing? And is your firm data-driven? Now, I know it was impossible to write down all these questions, so don't worry. We'll provide these questions and more, some of these things to think about, in an additional document that Rainmaker will send out to you. But if you answered yes to multiple questions on this list, you're most likely ready to move into the direction toward implementing marketing automation software. When selecting your marketing automation system, you must consider variables to determine the right fit for your firm. So I'm going to go through with you how to select marketing automation software. The first step in selection is to think about your goals and objectives. What are your firm's 2015 goals, your 5-year goals, 10-year goals? What steps will it take to get there? Think in terms of revenue, as well as service line and geographic expansion, and the resources that you have to accomplish those things. Then, think about what you would want from marketing automation to achieve those goals. It's critical to understand your goals before undergoing and implementing marketing automation tools. Are you looking to improve the quality of leads, number of leads? Do you want to improve visibility? Do you have a lot of content already developed that people just aren't accessing? From there, determine what kind of marketing automation tool sets you'll need. Marketing automation is not one size fits all. You must find the right fit for your firm. I would encourage you to bring together your leadership team to review the goals and determine what is best for you. We've discussed some of the core capabilities for each platform, the basics that are included in every platform, which is email marketing, that website analytics, and some sort of marketing database. But we'll take a look at the additional capabilities so that it can help you identify what you need. Now, once you've identified your goals, the next step is to really look internally at those internal resources. Is this something you can bring in internally? Do you have the internal staff to do this, or will you need outsourced assistance? To maximize your ROI, those implementing the system will need a certain degree of knowledge, training, expertise, and ability to execute an automated new business process. And I want to stop here for a second and just emphasize, even though, and we'll get to this in a little bit about ease of use, and there are certain marketing automation software that are easier to use than others, it is still, all of them are complex systems. So this is not like starting up, say, Microsoft Word or Excel or something where you can pretty much jump in and figure out what you need to do on the fly. There is training that's needed. I want you to consider how your current team operates. If your marketing team operates in silos, you'll need to improve cooperation to develop communication between departments that are working in business development and the execution of those marketing tactics. So lead generation, whoever's doing business development for you, and the implementation of those tactics need to be closely aligned. Before making any decision, ask yourself these questions. And again, I'll provide all these questions for you. Do you have internal skill set and staff necessary to bring this in-house? Will this be added to someone's current list of duties? And can they allocate the appropriate amount of time to implement this sort of software level? How much time will they have to allocate marketing automation? Who will be using the system once it's adopted? Who else in your organization will be using the system? Because they'll need training also. Who will take the lead on selection process integration and implementation? Once you've answered these questions, you want to identify your current marketing systems because you have to think about how everything that you're using will integrate or if it'll integrate. So what CRM are you using? Do you use a web platform, a webinar platform? If so, what platform is it? What social media channels are you using? Do you use a URL shortener system? How do you measure web analytics? Are you using something like Google Analytics or some other kind of tool? Do you have an email marketing system? Does that system contain historic data? Are you running a Google AdWords campaign? What blogging platform do you have, if any? I want you to write down all the external marketing systems that you have. That'll help in your selection process. When you review marketing automation products, you have to determine which include built-in connectors that integrate with your system versus those that have other sorts of integration. Now, this is a very important point. Certain software include automated connectors, which allow the different systems, say your CRM and the marketing automation tool you've selected, to share information automatically. Other marketing automation tools require that you manually push or pull data between the two software systems. So in order for your CRM and your marketing automation software to talk to each other, you actually have to manually push or pull the data between the two systems. In other words, you have to go into your marketing automation software or you have to go into your CRM and you have to tell it to push or pull that information. It does not happen automatically. And that's that can be very confusing for people because they will say, the software companies will say, they are integrated. But integration does not mean necessarily that it happens behind the scenes automatically. So you want to be sure that you're asking very detailed questions about any type of integration between these systems. And again, that's why I say start with a list, because you want to go system by system and say, does this automatically behind the scenes integrate, or do I have to manually push and pull? How does this happen? And ask the question during the demonstration, how does this happen? How do I do this? Get specific. Will you be making changes to your current marketing systems to accommodate the marketing automation software? So if you find, for instance, that your CRM, your database, doesn't automatically integrate, you may need to consider to fully implement a marketing automation software, changing your CRM. And that adds to the complexity because then there's a little more cost up front and more training. If so, if you end up saying, I need to change some of these systems that are in place, I need to upgrade them or change to a different system in order to fully integrate, you want to take those changes in pricing into your budget and resource allocation, as well as identify the people responsible for learning those new systems, teaching others, and adding to that implementation timeline. So then it's important to get a sense, as I've alluded to, on how easy a platform will be to use. Pull every review that you can find on these systems. Be sure to set up a demo within a relatively short time frame once you've read the review to make relevant comparisons of the tool. If you're comparing software to software, if you're looking at Marketo, Acton, or HubSpot, for instance, the three market leaders, I would encourage you to set up demos of those three within a really short period of time. If you can do it the same day or within 1 or 2 days of each other, because that way the information will be very fresh about how each system works. Be sure the vendor understands all of your business and marketing needs. Have them demo your must-have features and answer the following questions. And again, I want to encourage you to ask very, very detailed questions like, what is the onboarding process? How long does implementation take? How easy is the system to use? Does it require extensive training? How many steps does it take to create the necessary campaigns you will be implementing? Do they have a support team or dedicated account rep to answer any of your questions during and after implementation? Or will they refer you to a lot of video how-tos? How many steps does it take to create an email campaign? How easy is it to import a list? How easy is it to create a new landing page? Will it require technical or design expertise? Can a non-technical user customize content for landing pages, forms, and follow-up processes? Can a non-designer create, export, and A/B test call to action buttons? And again, I'll give you all these questions to ask, so don't worry about trying to jot these all down. Once all of these questions have been answered, keep a sheet of all the pros and cons. Once you've done a demo with all the systems, review this information to determine which system had the best interface and was easiest to use for your team. Everybody's different, so you want something that is really appealing to you and your team. And remember, even though they mean well, when you're speaking to a sales rep from any kind of software company, or anything, anytime you're speaking to a sales rep, they're in the business of selling. They're in the business, in this case, they're in the business of selling that software. It's vital to have a list of predetermined requirements in order to get an accurate understanding of the software and really to find your way through their sales process and their sales rhetoric, if you will. And I don't mean to say that all marketing automation software sales reps will just sell you a bill of goods. But I do mean to say, just keep it in mind that they're in the business of selling their software, so they're going to put it in the best light possible. They're great people. But if you have prepared that list of what you're looking for ahead of time, it'll really help the process. You want to also look at the level of sophistication, because you must know your objectives to help identify the proper tools for your firm. And by level of sophistication, I don't mean the level of sophistication necessarily within the software company or the software that you're looking at, but also the level of sophistication within your own firm. Think about the level of sophistication you really need for your marketing efforts. As you go along the continuum from basic to a high-level enterprise-level system, you will understand what additional features you may want or need. If you're simply looking to replace individual disparate tools so that your data and processes are on one dashboard, you're really looking for some basic automation. As you demo the products, you'll come to understand their ability and whether or not creating landing pages, forms, various list imports and syncs, A/B testing are more required for your firm. If so, that's more intermediate level of automation. At the pro level, the higher level of sophistication, you may want to add score leads to prospects, have complete automation, higher levels of A/B testing, and to create behavior-based campaigns, automated campaigns. The higher the level of sophistication required, the more expertise and resources required to have a successful implementation of the product. Some questions to ask. Do you require a platform, to offer a way to maintain consistency of targeted messaging? Do you need a system to segment users based on behavior? Do you require software that allows for targeted monitoring and publishing of content? Do you have the sophistication to implement API? To what extent do you need the additional tools offered by the various platforms? So really think long and hard. Just because they offer something doesn't mean it's good and right for your firm. Once you've reviewed the objectives, resources, integration ability, ease of use, and level of sophistication, think about the timeline of implementation. All the steps mentioned above will help give you an idea of what you need, the time commitment of resources, those internal resources, and the steps needed to implement the automation software. But create a timeline and make sure that the tool you choose can fit into the timeline you created, particularly if you're under any pressure from an internal organization or internal pressures to have this implemented by second quarter or third quarter or end of the year or what have you. You really want to think about your timeline. When you create your timeline, be sure to include ample time for your pre-selection process. Identify how long you'll research the products, how many demos you would like to be given, who should see those demos, and time to negotiate with the selected vendor. And here's a tip. They won't tell you this directly, but they're all willing to negotiate something. So at least ask the question. When you begin your timeline and creating your implementation steps, think about when you would like to be fully implemented, when you would like to have all elements of this software integrated and implemented and running, and work backward from there. So adjust that timeline accordingly. Consider any changes to current systems, the integration of those current systems, as we mentioned, and be sure to include time to implement new marketing systems such as the CRM or a new web platform. If you plan on making changes, you will need extra time built into your timeline. And don't forget time to train you, your team, and others in your firm that may play some role in this process. Your timeline is not only necessary for your own reference, but it'll give you a feel for the various vendors' capabilities to successfully help you implement your marketing automation efforts. Now, the next step is cost, the one you've all been waiting for. Are you looking for basic or enterprise level? What's your budget? Be sure to compare prices based on the additional tools available on each platform. There's often room for negotiation. But here are a few pricing options for the leading marketing automation products available. Act-On has pricing from $500, $800, and $1,000 a month. HubSpot offers a $200 plan, $800 plan, $2,400 a month plan on up. Marketo runs around $1,200 a month. Eloqua is $2,000 to $4,000 a month. Pardot starts at $1,000, goes up from there. Sales Fusion, $750 on up. Now, as you can see, one of the key elements in terms of the cost has to do with the number of lead contacts. So how are they counting your leads? So how many contacts you have in their system determines the price per month. You want to ask the question, how many leads or contacts does this include? Is API included? The Marketo, for instance, does not include API in its basic software. you have to upgrade to the enterprise level in order to get the API. Act On the other hand, includes API automatically. So ask those questions about API. Are there add-ons? What else can we do? What does the, what does the software include? And the API is basically, we had this question come up, an API simply means it's a more sophisticated part of the software that allows you to integrate other custom software into this marketing automation tool. Now, the API typically means that you need programming expertise in order to integrate any API. But let me give you an example of how an API would come into play. We implemented a marketing automation software tool for a SaaS-based software organization, and they have a software that they built that allows people to automatically get free demos of their software products. So they're using software automation to sell their software, okay, to sell this service. And part of this is their software program has people register for a free demo, and then it sends them a link to their login information that's customized to them for their demo, their software demo. And it actually creates a platform for them. Now, that's their own internal system that does that. They needed that API builds a bridge, is a little piece of software that allows it to build a bridge between their marketing automation software and their internal software. So let's say, for instance, in an accounting firm, you might have a software that allows people to access or download or upload certain kinds of information to you. You know, maybe you have the system that allows you for them to upload, say, their tax documents or download some information, in a private mode. That type of software is not going to automatically integrate with any of these marketing automation tools. But many firms have it built into their websites. You know, they have that link there, and then it takes you to a different system. The API can allow you to build a bridge between those two systems, so then you could track activity, which would then feed information into your CRM. So you could see if somebody automatically, has already downloaded or whatever, and then it gives you that tracking. So that's an example. It's just a piece of software called API. So, another question to ask is A/B testing included? Is training an additional cost? So ask very specifically on whichever software you want to select about additional costs, what's included at the base level, what's not included, how things are set up, can you set up landing pages? Ask as many questions as possible. And again, I'll send you a bunch of questions to ask, but have all the answers up front and have it in writing. And another example I wanted to give you was that because we needed some API, this software company was looking at almost doubling the cost per month of their marketing automation software just to get the API. And again, many of the software, typically these marketing automation tools charge for additional contacts. So if you're paying for 2,500 contacts per month, and you go to 3,000 contacts, you may not just pay for an additional 500. It may go 2,500 to 5,000 to 10,000, or it may be sold in 10,000 unit blocks. So even if you have 1,100 contacts, you're going to pay for 20,000, not 10,000. So you really want to get very, very specific. Marketing automation, as I mentioned, is not a one-size-fits-all. Consider all the following, the items that we discussed, to make a well-informed decision when selecting your marketing automation tool, or if marketing automation is right. The gains made through marketing automation are the results of basic programs that are executed very well. The best choice you can make in using a platform that fits comfortably in your organization helps fulfill your current and future objectives, and is easy to use for your team, is the right choice for your firm. So just because someone else is doing it and someone else has implemented its full behavior-based marketing program doesn't mean that's what you should do for your firm. The right fit is critical to your success. When you deploy the right fit marketing automation tool for your firm, you'll experience a seamless lead generation and management tool for higher level conversions and to achieve more qualified leads. You'll be able to optimize channels that engage prospects and improve communication. It will give you in-depth insight to data and analytics, but again, those are only useful if you have someone with the time to look at those analytics and actually analyze them. The ability to track ROI from campaign to revenue is great if you have the team with the time to do it, and if you've taken the time to implement that appropriately. Pick the system that will propel your firm forward and meet your business goals. With that, I'd like to move it over to any questions that you might have. And again, you can send those questions in the chat box. We had one about API. Does anybody have questions that they'd like to ask? A couple of the questions that we often get about marketing automation, which tools to select are, and I'd like to come back to this list so you can see it, is that the ease of setting up simple email campaigns. And that because most of us are using some sort of email software. Look at the number of steps. Act-On, for instance, takes very few steps to set up an email campaign from start to finish. It can take just 2 or 3 steps. Marketo, on the other hand, which is more enterprise level and more complex system, can take 5 to 6 steps to do the same thing. HubSpot's kind of in between. It's a very good system. It's very user-friendly. But steps to set up certain things and integrate are very, very important, and where they occur. And another question that we've gotten is, generally, what do you recommend to start first, content or software? I would look at a couple of things. I would look at what are you doing in terms of touch points. If you have like a newsletter, you're doing e-blast, you have content, I would start there first. I would start with my touch points and the content first versus saying, oh, let's get the software and then do it. Because what the benefit, the great benefit out of any of these marketing automation tools is gained when you have content. If you look at the most successful companies when it comes to marketing automation, they are successful because of the amount of content and the availability of content. I also wanted to touch on behavioral. I mentioned it during the presentation, but I wanted to touch on what I mean by behavioral-based efforts or marketing tactics. So what you can do, as the more sophisticated you can get, you can do something basic like just integrate your newsletter or an e-marketing, blast or e-blast into your marketing automation. And that's pretty basic. And then tie in your CRM. That's a real basic kind of a thing to do. Tie in your Google Analytics, your email marketing, and push the information back and forth between your CRM. Very, very basic. And that's a cool thing to do, and it kind of brings in all the, it takes 3 different systems, your Google Analytics, your CRM, and your email marketing under one software umbrella, if you will. And that's a very simple way to implement marketing automation. Again, very, very basic. But if you go up the sophistication level, and once you implement at a basic level, you can always move up, get more sophisticated. And I would encourage people, even if they're a sophisticated organization, to start really at the basic. Let's nail this. Let's nail this process, and then move up to the enterprise level, a more sophisticated level, the pro level, if you will. The behavior-based, though, allows you, and this is particularly important if you have lots of content, it allows you to put certain content behind a form. Now, don't worry, you're not asking people to complete a form every single time they have anything that they want to do, because your CRM is tied in so it can autofill for them. But what this does is says, if you can start looking at your content saying, if a prospect landed on this page and took these actions, maybe they downloaded an ebook or a white paper or looked at a particular article or even looked at a particular landing page. It's an if-then statement for behavior-based. If they did this or took this action or this step or these steps, then they may be interested in this other information or these other steps. So then that allows you to say, and you can build this into the system, and this is the behavior base that I'm talking about, saying, okay, if they look at this particular white paper about some process improvement or some tax change or tax ideas or tips or what have you, then I may want to push information out to them. And if you have ever been in that kind of situation where you've gone to a website and downloaded, a white paper or an article or an ebook or something, and then a couple of days later you might get an email that says, we hope you are enjoying such and such, and we thought you might enjoy this too. There's not a person that's going through this list saying, oh, look, Chris downloaded this paper, so then 2 days later, I'm going to remember and I'm going to type him an email and I'm going to send, Chris an email to about this with an attachment. That's where behavior-based automation software comes into play, because that can happen, that can trigger another series of events. Their action triggers another series of events. And you can have it timed out. Maybe it's 2 days later, maybe it's a week later, maybe it's 3 days, maybe it sends an email to somebody internally to give that person a call or to put them on some other kind of follow-up list. But that's fully implemented behavior-based, and again, that is based on content. You have to have the content to support that, whatever it is. It might be an email, it might be an ebook, it might be an article, whatever. Are there any other questions that I can answer? You're welcome to submit any questions, any additional questions you think of to Rainmaker, and they'll forward them to me, and I'm happy to answer those. And I'd encourage you to stay in touch with our firm via your favorite social media channel. I'd like to thank you all for having me today. I hope I've shed some light on the exciting world of marketing automation and giving you a few things to think about. With that, I'd like to turn it back over to our Rainmaker host.
Thank you, Christine, and I want to thank everyone for being on the webinar today. And as Christine has mentioned already today, the questions that she has reviewed today will be sent out in an email to all of the listservs. And I have everyone's email that's on the session today, so I will also make sure that they are sent out to you individually. And if you do have any additional questions, please either reach out to Christine directly, or you can email me. This is kim@therainmakercompanies.com, and I will forward on your questions to Christine. So if there are no further questions, we're going to end the session today, and thank you all very much for being on today.